Okay, welcome. We're live here, live on the first time ever for the UK Steelers podcast. We're about to start on the pod, but we are live. All right. Okay. Let's.
Are we ready to go? Is that you saying we're ready to go?
We're ready to go, Mark. We can start
Okay.
recording whenever you want. Hit that music.
Here we go. Hello and welcome to episode 338 of the UK Steelers podcast, episode 4 of draft season 2026. You're joined once again by me, Mark Hanson, and this week I've got a whole cavalcade of draft experts ready to talk interior offensive linemen. We've got the return of Gavin Marshall from 2 weeks ago. We've got the return of Getz from last week, but we also have the return from last season of our good friend Thomas Fielding. And Thomas, I'm going to come to you first, my good friend. How are you doing?
Well, good, thank you. Thank you for the invite. Always look forward to these.
Yeah, no, we're really happy to have you back on. Obviously, you know, we always share your draft opinions as well on the show, and it's great to have you on to talk to them and talk about them and rip on Ketz a little bit, inevitably.
We're also glad to have found someone as nuts to do this as we are. So
exactly, yeah.
Always good.
A brother.
You know, I joined in during draft season. I think Mike joined in during draft season. It's always, you know, it's the big recruitment stage in draft season, I think, for us. Gav, welcome back to the show. How you doing?
I'm all right, thanks. Yeah, not too bad at all. Looking forward to this. I like this the O-line group, the interior O-line, big and heavies. One of my favourite groups to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. And just for people who aren't currently tuned in, we are also live on YouTube right now for anybody listening to this after time. So, yeah, if we have any questions come through, you know, if anybody has any questions out there for the people who are watching live, please feel free to give us a shout out. Ketz will be looking into those. Ketz, how are you doing?
I'm very good. Thank you to one Mr. Simon Winstanley for saying this show is overrated as one of our first YouTube comments. Much appreciated, Simon, as always.
Why is he not on the... Yeah, never mind. Yes.
Overrated because he's not on it, maybe.
Yeah. Oh, well, it must be. Yeah, absolutely. If it's Si saying that. Yeah, we hope to have Si on back very soon. But... yeah, we are, as we said, we're going to dive into the interior offensive lineman. But before we do that, obviously, we're going to give a big shout out to our show producers this month from patreon.com/UK Steelers pod. For anybody tuning in on the YouTube live channel who isn't a Patreon, come join. You get a whole lot of great content through there, as these lovely people do. Jason Bowdler, Rob Ferguson, Teenage Mutant Ninja Dave Hart, Glenn Jones, Matt Audley, Steve Williams, Ian Ferrugia, Christian Robb, Thomas Fielding, Joe Pearson, our resident food correspondent Christopher Anderson, Philip Williams, Laura Casey, Michael Coonahan, Paul Fielding, the obscenely handsome Lee Matthews, and the Aussie Storm Galileo West.
Thanks to those wonderful producers.
Good to have the trumpets back.
I've just noticed one of those Patreons has messaged in, Jason, who's the most nervous? I tell you, it's me because I've got so much going on here. I'm like, it's like Starship Control. I've got so much stuff going on. So I'm just hoping this stream works. I don't sound like a robot. I don't share anything dodgy via my laptop to the internet. So it's all happening, Jason. It's all happening.
Well, yeah, you know, anybody listening on the YouTube, if you do obviously hear anything that you're unsure about, please do say so as well, because, you know, we want to make this as good as possible for you on the show. Right, before we dive into the interior offensive line, I just wanted to bring up a couple of things. First of all, the Combine is on right now. I have got it on my screen, and I promise not to be distracted by it because it's not interior O-line doing their stuff today. Currently got the defensive line. About to see Lee Hunter run.
The big man.
Tom's Red Star is about to run, which yeah. Everybody is about to feel this, I think.
And Mark
6-3.
has proceeded to get immediately distracted by the
Oh,
combine,
yeah,
which
yeah.
he's just promised he won't do, of course, listeners.
No, that's very true. But it's Lee Hunter. Well, what can I say? He's a great man. But yes, obviously, yeah. Combine week is in full flow now, with some of these guys now running and doing their drills. Very excited to see, because after this week, we'll have all the combine stuff, and we get into some of the more premium groups in this class, and get to actually talk combine numbers as well. It's going to be very interesting to see. We've already got some questionable arm measurables out there for some people, particularly. I think we're looking at possibly doing edge next week, and there are some T-Rexes in this class. There's a lot of Nick Herbigs in terms of arm length out there, so going to be very interesting to talk about that next week. One other thing I did want to bring up just before we start everything, I think it would be remiss of me not to talk about, because it's happened within the week, the very sad passing of Rondale Moore at the age of just 25 years of age. Incredibly sad news that came out through the week. Again, we've highlighted over the last couple of weeks, just how important mental health is and everything. And, this is a tragic example just of that. And, again, we just reiterate to everyone who listens, you're never alone. If you ever need to talk, the Facebook group is an absolutely fantastic place to do that. So, yeah, I just wanted to bring that out, because that is a very sad story. I believe, Gav, was he size Red Star during the draft process for?
Yeah, I think he was a Red Star. Definitely, Si was keen on him. Yeah, really talented player. You look back at his history, like how everyone knew him at high school. He was going to the NFL, just one of those guys electric with the ball in his hands. Maybe didn't quite work out. Had a few injuries and stuff, but yeah, obviously yet to know the full details. But sounds like a tragic, possibly CTE related or something. We're not quite sure, are we? But yeah, another one of those tales, unfortunately. Too young.
Yeah.
Taken too young.
Absolutely, yeah, just very sad. I just thought that would be kind of pertinent. I didn't really want to go without mentioning that, particularly as what we've been talking about the last couple of weeks. I don't think I've got anything else. Does anybody else have any other business they want to throw out there before we dive into this group of gigantic men? That is a weird way of putting that.
That's not going to be a sound drop.
There we go.
The chat's busy. We've got Tom is in there, different Tom. Rob Ferguson, Laura's in there, Jason's in there. So yeah, it's Rob Ferguson says some interesting video suggestions on the feed. Interesting.
Yeah,
Gav, your algorithm has been found out.
I've been exposed. Thanks everyone for joining though. Glad you're here, guys. It's nice to see our closest friends and family, our Pittsburgh family.
Absolutely. Yeah, awesome. Right, well, let's not keep them hanging around any longer. Let's talk about some interior offensive linemen. We're going to talk guards. We're going to talk centers. And if I may, just to kind of kick things off here, I really like this group. I think it's an incredibly strong group where you can find talent in pretty much any part of the draft. Center is obviously not the biggest need for us. It'd probably be nice to have a decent backup. Who is Zach Frazier's backup these days? I can't even remember. Is it still Ryan McCullum? Yeah, I think it is. Is it? Or
yeah,
is
McCullum.
Yeah,
He's on the depth chart.
Yeah,
but he's a free agent, isn't he?
He is a free agent.
He's restricted, isn't he? But he's a free agent.
Spencer Anderson as well could do a job there.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, it's not a particularly high need for us, but in terms of guard, I think with Isaac Seumalo's status sort of up in the air as a free agent, and kind of the depth that we sort of don't have there. Again, Spencer Anderson could do a job there, but definitely one I think that may be on the radar at any point in this draft, even possibly that first round pick. I'll start with you, Gav. First of all, do you feel like the Steelers could pivot towards that in the first round? And what did you think of the guys you watched?
Yeah, I'm maybe not as high on this whole class as you. There's some standout guys for me. I'd just be surprised. First round for a guard seems rich in where they are. I know they need a guard, but like you said, there are some decent guys later. There's one guy I really love, and I think he's going to be out of range for them. But there's a lot of centres, isn't there? There seems to be a lot of sort of high quality centres, and I don't think the Steelers need a centre like you said. So I don't know with this group. I think they may end up. I think tackle maybe if the reports about Broderick Jones' injury are as bad as they sound, it might be they go more that way earlier and then loop back round. You can find a later guard, right? I mean, there's the skill set. And really, we're talking about the pure guards here. You've also got all the guys that you talked about on last week's show that are probably kick inside. Some of them will probably be way high up on this list than some of these dudes. So there's going to be a load of guards, basically. So I don't think we need to pull the trigger too early.
No shortage of guards. And you actually bring up a very good point because there wasn't really many key talking points from Omar Khan's discussion at the Combine, but I think the most important one is that Broderick Jones may not be able to go through the summer. I think it's even possibly questionable whether he's ready for the start of the season from his neck injury. So, yeah, left tackle has suddenly become a massive thing. And, Ketz, you brought this up last week when we did the offensive tackle group, that it could well be a massive need. And it feels like now you could well be right in terms of we could even be looking at another offensive tackle in the first round.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. It's always going to be a position that unless you've got it absolutely locked down for the next 5 years, it's always worth having a look at. So, but interestingly, today we seem to have talked to a load of cornerbacks as well. So maybe cornerback is on the radar for first round. But yeah, first or second round, definitely first, second day. I think we need to be at least looking at the tackle position. But I think the depth is good, both on the guard side of things, as we'll talk about tonight, and on the tackle side as well. So, I don't think there's necessarily like the absolute blue chip tackle like a Joe Alt like there was a few years ago. But I think there's definitely some good skill sets there across the tackle class, as we discussed last week. If you've not listened to that episode, go back and have a listen because it was a good conversation we had.
It is, and it's chock full of guards. So, if you enjoy the discussion this week, you'll definitely enjoy last week's discussion as well. Tom, what kind of are your kind of 30,000 foot view thoughts on this interior class?
So I think there's a good floor. I think of a lot of these, you're looking at least a backup in a lot of areas. So for me, that's value. There isn't, of what I've seen anyway, there isn't the where you think, I know they're going to fall out the league quite quickly. They possibly will, but not from what their floor is, what I've seen. I think another thing to bring up on us drafting as well is we've got a new head coach, and his history doesn't show O-line much from the first pick. If you look at a lot of his picks, you're looking at more wide receiver, cornerback, and that's what you're seeing where with the interviews as well, isn't it? Cornerbacks is a big thing with the first rounders. So as much as I would want to see O-line, because that's what I believe is where the strength of any team is. I think it still will be probably top first three rounds, basically.
Yeah. I think it's a weird one, isn't it? Because we've invested so much in the O-line, particularly in the draft over the last few years. So it's interesting to think that the idea of going back to that well again. But as you say, we do have a big need at wide receiver. We do have somewhat of a big need at corner as well. So they are areas to tackle. And obviously when the Combine's finished and we get into next week, we'll kind of run through all of the players that the Steelers have spoken to. They've spoken to a bunch of D linemen as well today. So we'll run through those. But in terms of this class, I think we should kick straight on. And I'm going to ask a favor here, and I'm going to ask a favor of I'll go with Gav on this one. I want you to kick us off with this first, man, because I would like to go second this week, please.
No, you go first. All right.
No,
I want to go second, but fine. Okay, I'll do this. We're going to go to Penn State. Ola Vega Ione, aka Vega Ione, 6'4", 323 pounds. Anyone looking at the YouTube can see he's currently at 16th on the big board, so middle of the first round. So if the Steelers were wanting to go with a guard, this would be the guy they should be looking at if they want that blue chip guard. He's like wide-bodied. He's got active feet, hands, and his balance really shows up in pass protection. He maintains like a really good stance and posture, and that his balance really helps. Doesn't get knocked around. Doesn't sort of start falling on the ground. And his the way he holds himself, his posture, he really like walls off and prevents penetration. I think he's a solid pass protector. I think he plays with a nice wide base, and then he's got that nice torque power that we've talked about. I heard you talking about that, Ketz, last week. Nice balance, as I said, and the agility to mirror all adds up to a great sort of pass protection profile. So for a passing team, this guy is like a real must, I think, a must add. If you've got a need at guard and you're a passing team, he should be high up your board. He's got great grip strength, lovely anchor, powerful punch, strike placement's good hand spills, fights, reapplies his hands when he gets into trouble, plays with real patience. He lets things develop in front of him before he commits, but then when he does commit, he commits with like intensity. So, but I like his ability to switch like on the power mid rep, so he can be see what's happening, doesn't get dragged around, but then suddenly, he when he decides it's time, he'll engage, he'll get in control, use his stamina, use his technique, and just generally is quite a calm presence in the chaos. So I think that's what I liked about this dude. But in terms of mobility, not so mobile. Like it looks like the zone game gets away from him a little bit of time, ends up getting dragged by the sort of motion rather than leading it. So he's not a guy that's going to like reach, block, or scoop that well. So I think more of a kind of gap scheme guy, which traditionally would have fitted with the Steelers up until Arthur Smith showed up in town. So we're yet to see what kind of blocking schemes we're gonna have. But yeah, he's definitely more of a gap guy. He's got decent change of direction and quick feet and mirror, but just not mobile. Like not hasn't got an amazing first step. Doesn't travel or cover a lot of ground. But to me, he's like a pro-ready, solid guard in the conversation at his grade. But to be honest, I'm probably going to go elsewhere in round one if this is where I am, because of positional value. So I'm at value with him, but I like him as a prospect. I like him as a player, but just I'd struggle taking him at 16.
I think I'm at value as well with him. I liked a lot of what I saw of it. I just don't think I loved it. Like, people love this guy. If you look around, people are really, really high on Vega Iani. They really, really are. But I do absolutely see the appeal. I think his pass pro is excellent the majority of the time. As you say, sturdy anchor, sharp hands. I think his movement skills are all right. I don't think they're the best in this class, but I think they're okay. It's certainly, I don't think they're below average or anything. As you say, it's just the run game part of it is very inconsistent. It just definitely needs work, and I do think the hand placement can get inconsistent at times. That was kind of evident against Ohio State quite early on in that game. But yeah, there's really a lot to like about him. I think in a phone booth, he's a brick wall of a human being. You're going to get very little past him. 0 sacks given up in the last 2 years is kind of evident of that as well. Great work there. Minimal penalties given up throughout his career as well. He's a very good player for me. And if he was the pick at 21, wouldn't actually hate it, to be perfectly honest with you. I think, that's why I've kind of gone out value. I think at 21, if he's the guy, if, the top end wide receivers are gone, and you're not happy with what else is kind of there, and Vega is still there, and that's I wouldn't hate that, to be perfectly honest with you. I like the upside. Some of the issues kind of give me pause for thought, but that's why I'm at value. Ketz, what did you think?
I think that his pass protection is the best I've seen in this class. He's got that phone box strength and frame. Yes, there's more athletic players in this class that do more in the run game at the second level, especially. But I think Owane will do fine at the NFL level with his strength. Now, don't put this guy in an outside run zone blocking scheme, because he won't work. But if you play to his strengths, which are his pass protection, I think his footwork, mirroring, hand fighting, hand counters, it's immediately obvious when you watch this guy's tape compared to some of the others in this class. It just looks good on tape. It's all in rhythm. It looks professional, constantly making adjustments. His anchor is fantastic. Looks to have real elite lower body strength. You could not bull rush this guy unless you were an absolutely elite NFL tried and tested defensive tackle, and even then, I'm not convinced you'd get that far. You'd probably be able to move him backwards somewhat, but I think his leverage and his anchor is really good. He's got a great understanding of leverage. There's plenty of snaps where the DT he's facing is kind of pulled forward and out of the play completely, so he's really aware of where his body position is and his leverage. He's not playing over his toes and getting kind of overexposed. If anything, he's making the defensive tackle go the other way. The run game, yes, when he hits a player in the second level, he knows about it. There's good examples on tape where he physically hits the guy and he moves backwards a yard or two. That said, I think his biggest knock is that he sometimes slips off a run block. I want to see more consistency in that area. But in my opinion, that's very much kind of searching for a negative to try and highlight to be a bit more balanced. I think occasionally he's used as an extra blocker in a tight end position. He had 30 snaps in his collegiate career doing this. Now, it's a shame we've not got Arthur Smith anymore, because if you did take this guy, in fact, Arthur Smith might do, and use him as an extra blocking kind of tight end upside with guard. I think 16 on the consensus board, again, as Gav says, it's high for a guard, but I think this guy is worthy of a first round selection for a team that needs a guard. He's +1 for me. If he was lower down, he'd probably be +2, but where he is at 16 on the consensus board, +1 red star.
Ooh. Oh, I'll do it for you guys.
Red Star!
Double red
I
star.
think
Look.
that was
Caught
dual.
me out
Yeah,
there.
there you go. Yeah, that wasn't really the lead up to a
Yeah.
red star, is it? Katz does this sometimes. It feels like he's
Yeah,
not.
the surprise red star.
he's-
I was
he's
on the wrong
there, but he's
page.
not
I was muted. I was all over on the stream. Sorry, Cats. Didn't give you.
No, don't worry. I love it when I shock you with a red star. It's all part of the fun. Yeah, I just really liked his. You watch his pass protection tape. It's just so clean and so much more professional. I think if you can get that upside in the run game as well, you'll have a hell of a player here. But yeah, I mean, he's projected to go to 14 to the Ravens. I don't want to see, our defensive tackles go up against this guy every year from a pass protection standpoint.
So you're Mr. Build for the future, sell everything now. Is spending a first round pick on the guard wise for the Steelers?
I don't think so for the Steelers, especially with the depth that you've got in this class, and like you said, with the tackles that could push inside to guard, or just the amount of decent guards and centers that you've got in this class. But that said, I do think you take someone with guard, floor, tackle, ceiling in the first 3 rounds of this draft, because especially if Broderick Jones is not going to play next year or he's got injury concerns, we don't know how serious that is. I think you've got to future-proof yourself. And like we said last week, if you take a tackle in the first kind of 3 rounds, given the compensatory pick formula and how that works, you probably kind of wash your face over the next 4 years with a third-round pick anyway from a compensation standpoint. So I think that there's some clever kind of GM work to be done there potentially, but I think there's definitely a good consistent strategy to build with O-lines, and I think some of the best teams are the ones that have their O-lines settled, fixed, no problems at all, nice and consistent.
Fair enough.
Tom?
I think for me, his floor is a starter for 10 years. That's his floor, and that's what makes him so good. Is the fact that he will consistently be there, and his ceiling could be all the way up to. It could be Pro Bowl. It could be whatever you want. He is a typical Polynesian build. He's that thick frame guy. Like you see in rugby as well. One thing I do love about him is his anchor. As Kent said, his pass pro is up there with one of the best in this class. One area that I specifically do like is his hand strength. I saw somewhere written about him a few weeks ago. They described it as a python grip, and that once he's got hold of you, he controls you. And I really like him. And he was bigger So when he first came into college, I think he's lost like 25, 30 pounds over the course of being in college. So he was a big guy. So, and that's kind of seen in a lot of the ways with his inconsistency in like the second level in the run game, and stuff like that. So he's not the most athletic. But if you want a guy who literally is going to be your guard for 10 years, this is the guy for you. So yeah, I'm big on him. I'm at value because for me, 16. I would say that's a little bit too high. I would say in the 20s. That's what I would look for. I'm big on as well, like Ketz. I'm big on with the guards and the centres and how they're portrayed and the positional value. The thing that point out is all the people who have been picked in this range, who are a centre and who are a guard, have pretty much worked out. There's not a lot of failure in this when you're picking a first round guard or first round centre. There's not a lot of failure, so it is a secure pick. Okay, it's not a sexy pick, but it's a secure one, and as Kat said, you can build to the future.
Yeah, I think like we've said with like first round picks in the past, like you're not going to go out and get the jersey of your left guard if he's your first round pick. You're going to go and get like a receiver or like a skill player. But yeah, more guard jerseys, please, people. That's what we need.
Hey, if we'd have drafted Powers Johnson, you would have seen another one right there.
Oh, I know, we would have done.
I was just looking. Gray Zabel picked at 18th this season, just gone. It didn't turn out too bad, did it? He was one of their better players. Donovan Jackson. I guess you're talking top half. Donovan Jackson. Has he worked out yet? Taken at 24th last year. He was injured, wasn't he? Actually, thinking about it.
Yeah, I think he got injured, didn't he? Yeah.
But you look at the Bucks. They've taken Graham Barton and Cody Malk. Was Malk a first round pick? I can't remember. I don't think he was he?
It was second, I think.
Yeah, but Barton was a first round pick, and he seems to have solidified a starting spot. So, they're more recent examples. I'm sure there's more historic ones, but I think Tom's right there. I don't think there's too many messes off the top of my head. So. Cool. Have you recorded everything for?
Yeah, what was your grade, Tom? Sorry.
At value.
Okay, cool. Yeah, pretty high value there. I mean, it's almost like I was tempted to go -1 there just because of what I said about the positional value, but I went at value because I do like him. It's sort of a -1 would have a negative connotation that I don't really want recorded, but I do feel
breaking
like
your own draft rules, Gavin.
Well, no, this is exactly the rules, right? But yeah, I know. Okay, fine. That's why I stuck with it. Anyway, Mark, go on then, take it away.
I will take it away. I'm going to take us all the way over to Oregon, and I'm going to talk about Emmanuel Pregnon, one of the better names, I think, in this draft. Oregon this year, formerly of USC and Wyoming, redshirt senior. I think he's 24, so he's obviously a slightly older prospect in terms of his age. If anybody has a different age to 24, I can't remember if he's 25 starting the season.
No, he is 24. So he was a redshirt senior, opted out of the 2020 COVID season, redshirted 21, and then has played ever since.
There you go. Yeah, so perfect. 6'5", 320 is what I've got on here. Obviously, these measurables are all subject to what's happening this week in the combine. Emmanuel Pregnon, first team All-American this year, first team All Big Ten this year as well, second team All Big Ten last year. For me, Emmanuel Pregnon is the best interior offense. No, you know what? Let me try that again. Emmanuel Pregnon is the best lineman. No, let me try that again. Emmanuel Pregnon is the best guy in the trenches in this entire draft. I absolutely love this guy. Minimal sacks given up over his college career. Only one penalty given up in 2025. Has history at left guard and right guard as well, so he's got versatility. He's violent. He's strong. His mission is to create gaps. He takes that very seriously as a mission. Great initial contact. Good awareness to get off blocks and engage in elsewhere. Did hold up very well. Texas Tech was a kind of up and down game for him. He did give up a sack in that, but I think on the whole, against that front, I don't think he did too badly. He faced up against Indiana's Giants on the defensive line really well as well. I think he held firm in pass protection in both of those games, as well as his usual creation of running lanes. I think he, I kind of tongue in cheek here, prospered in spite of the fact of having Isaiah World next to him. He was hurt in 2024 in USC. He worked through that. He showed his toughness through there. Yeah, he can overset. He can lose his balance at times. He can be a bit of a plodding runner at times. But man alive, his violence, his power, his hand usage, I absolutely love it all. I think he would absolutely complete our line. I think he's just absolutely incredible. I don't care if he's 24. I'd take him at 21. He's my red star.
Red Star!
Right, you got two because he's mine too.
Hey!
Now, I wanted to do this guy, and I thought, oh, Mark will go first. I'll do Pregnon, but no, you did the rug pull on me.
Oh, we should have coin tossed, coin cost.
Yeah. I'm with the same man. What a road grader! Just a physical, nasty presence on your line. Tone setter, big, powerful, people moving, heavy mofo. Right, but again with good balance. You can see it in some of the clips here. Like when he's engaged, he just doesn't get pushed around. He just doesn't overextend, doesn't lunge. He just plays with control, and I love him as well, man. Why do we think? Is it the one question I've got? Are we getting sucked into the violence and the power and the size, and that's why we like him? Whereas we should be thinking more about the more refined skills that maybe Vega has, that maybe the kind of more advanced draft analysts, O-line analysts would turn to. Why do we think that Pregnon's on 40 on the big board, Vega's 16th? That's what I couldn't get my head around, because to me I prefer the tape of Pregnon.
For me, I think it's the age. I genuinely think that's probably the biggest factor of it. You know, he's 24 already. You know, he's going to be pushing 30 at the end of his first contract if he's obviously taken any lower than the first round. So I think that's a big part of it. I other than that, I really struggle. As I say, I would be more than happy to take him at 21 personally. Like I just love the player that much. But yeah, I can't think of any other reason. I don't know. Kets and Tom may tell us, but
yeah, he's a guy that you'd use in the same way as Vega, right? He's not a zone guy. I think you could use him maybe more in the pulling game, coming across the line and delivering hits and stuff. But it's same. He's not like he's a great guy in space. It's just pure about power and size and aggression with him, isn't it? But with composure and balance, which is what there was a clip there. Look at that lead block there on the YouTube. Amazing. I love him. So, someone else. Come on, bring us down off the hill here. Who's good? Who's got some negatives?
I've got some negatives, but that's just to give an overall balanced opinion. So just in terms of him versus Ioane, I don't think he's as perfect as Ioane as a pass protector, but I think he does a damn good job with the tools that he has. He doesn't mirror perfectly. He uses his arms really well, grip strength, anchor, his overall physicality. I'd be intrigued to know what his wingspan is, because his arms make him look like a tackle out there. I don't know if you guys thought that when watching the tape. I thought, geez, this guy looks like a tackle. Physically very impactful. His power and hand punches are really good. Despite his size, though, he's definitely got athletic upside. He can get round to the outside when run blocking. The knocks that I had for him, I think sometimes he overextends with too much aggression, leading to balance loss and susceptibility to counter moves. And maybe the other thing, he's a guard and only a guard. He's got no kind of positional flexibility. But that said, first team All-American 25, first team All-Big Ten 25, second team All-Big Ten 24. So it kind of shows that progression from 24 to 25. I'm by no means down on this guy either. I'm also +1.
Right. So he played one snap at left tackle and one snap at right tackle this last year.
Straws clutching.
Versatility.
Do you know what? Something to mention for Pregnon as well. He's gone from being an unranked player into a real feel-good story where he's ended up dominating at Oregon, but he's had to go through Wyoming in his freshman season. He's gone to USC. He's got better and better, and then gone to Oregon. He could have came out in 25. He had an invite to the 25 Shrine Bowl. Was expected to declare, and then he decided to return, went to Oregon, and just absolutely dominated. So, yeah, real good, feel-good story for this guy.
Yeah, I think I'd echo everything you guys say. Really, yes, he has got some weaknesses, but I think his positives outweigh everything. Weaknesses probably, as Ket said, in a way, he does overlean when he does come out of his stance, and sometimes he does overlean and he can go forward and lose balance. But that's picking. I think you look at this guy, and I'm a +1. I think he's at least an earlier than 40 anyway. Pick, and he could even go into the back end of the first round. I think if somebody needs a guard out of those teams in the back end, I think they could easily pick this guy. He is going to be another guy who's going to be there and ready to go on day one. He's that lovely saying of plug and play, isn't he? He's not flashy at all. He gets down, gets dirty, and does his job. And I love the violence. I'm the big violence guy. I mean, I'm the one who liked Mason McCormack coming out, and I was overjoyed when we picked him. So yeah, I'm that kind of O-line guy. I love the violence.
Yeah. Interesting. Both you and Kets said you thought he lunged. I didn't see that much lunging. Maybe I missed that.
I said that as well. To be honest, I saw a little bit of it. That was one of the kind of cons I had for him. I thought he did a little bit.
I thought he played with quite, despite his size, sort of decent knee flex, and was although he was striking and getting involved in blocks, I didn't see him get over his toes that often. But obviously you guys did, so it's difference of opinion.
I think I saw one. I saw one where he's quite susceptible to the swim move kind of thing, because he comes forward too much. A swim move just gets around him. But yeah, it's not many times I've seen it.
Right.
But it was there.
Maybe he's like a wild beast that needs to be tamed. Be a little bit, bit more, get a bit more patient, maybe, and not overextend.
Yeah, no, I was worried last week when we did Isaiah Weld, and I was like, is there going to be someone at Oregon that I don't like this year? Because it seems like I love somebody at Oregon every year, and thankfully I stuck the Pregnon tape on. It was like, there he is. There's my Oregon guy for the year. Perfect. So. Yeah, love him to bits, man. I'm sorry I took him away from you, Gav. But
That's all right. That's all right. I'm a +2. You're a +2, Mark?
I'm a +2. Yeah,
and Kets and Tommy are both +1, right?
Yep.
All right. Let's move on.
So you're right for Pavia.
Right. Kets, we'll go to you next. Who do you want to go for?
I will follow the consensus board with Chase Bisontis at 70. No, he's number 71. Let's not get my numbers confused. He's 46 on the consensus board. He is Texas A&M's left guard. Now, Texas A&M had, according to sort of summer scouting the year before, a really good kind of top 3 O-line. They had a number of their players returning. So, yeah, this was an interesting evaluation. Now, bearing in mind, A&M run a very physical downhill power run scheme with a dual threat quarterback. So it's worth bearing that in mind. Now, I thought I'd have a look at some 2024 tape because I watched the A&M versus Texas game. That was maybe a mistake with this guy because... yeah, there was a lot of issues that I picked up. So, good adjustments from a pass protection standpoint between picking up different blitzing players. Mirrors reasonably well, although not always 100%, but he definitely fights and adjusts when he's out of position. He gave up a pressure as he got beat on the inside. Then the next snap showed really poor anchor and just got driven back. He gave up a good 3 or 4 yards before finally... kind of neutralizing the Texas rush that was coming at him. I saw potential candidacy for holding calls. He had 2 arms around a defender that had beaten him on the outside later in the game. So then I looked up, okay, how many holding penalties he had. He's apparently a guy that commits quite a few holding penalties during 2025, including a notable missed call on a game-winning touchdown against Notre Dame. So he got away with one there. But okay, so that's pass protection. A few concerns there. Let's have a look at the run game. I think he lacks a little bit of push in the run game, especially for a guy that's so high up the consensus board. I think he can be stretched vertically at times. I think a defensive tackle can get underneath, which to me shows high pad level. I think I've seen him give up his chest on occasions. He can miss a block at the second level as well. I've seen balance issues where he's trying to block a linebacker at the second level and ended up on the floor. I've seen him pulled completely out of position where he's overcommitted to going forwards and the DT just goes, okay, I'll deal with that. I'll pull you completely out of the play. Once I spotted that, I watched his footwork more. Didn't like it at all. Okay, Ketz, you've been a bit harsh on this guy. Let's find some positives. 1,000+ snaps against SEC competition. I always say SEC competition is reasonably good because you've got that physical kind of day in, day out competition. Played a load of snaps at right tackle in 2023. Played a load of snaps at left guard in 24 and 25. Missed 3 games in 24 due to injury. I didn't see any record of him playing any snaps at centre. But having said that, for me, 44 on the consensus board, yeesh, I don't like that given the tape I've seen. Someone tell me why I shouldn't be -1, -2 at that inflated value. I see a late day 2 player at absolute best, realistically day 3 based on that Texas tape. Someone tell me they've seen a different game and I've just seen a bad game of his tape.
I'll counter because I'm quite high on this guy. I think he's only 21 years of age. I think he's young with lots of room to improve. 16 penalties in the last 2 years is bad, definitely, and he needs to clean those up. And that's like one of the biggest things, one of the biggest knocks on him. I do think he loses leverage at times with his high pad level. I think you're right about that. But man, love the frame, 6'6", 330. If he measures in like that, I think that's excellent. Only allowed 2 sacks over the last 2 years. I think he's able to lead people away from the QB really well, away from the pocket. I think he's strong at the point of contact. I think he moves well laterally. He's got a pancake or two on his tape. That's for sure. You definitely see that. There's certainly things to clean up, and I think he could be late to punch on counters and speed rush as well. But Matt, I think this guy's a young, athletic bulldozer with a lot of room to grow. I really like the ceiling. There could be a lowish floor for him, but I really like the ceiling for Basantis. I don't think he's plug and play like Ione or Pregnon, but I think if you develop him really nicely, I think he's an exciting, moldable hunk of clay that just, as you say, just needs to grow, tidy up those flags. I think he could do a really good job at the next level. I was really, really high on him. I'm actually a +1 for Basantis. Just really, really popped off the tape for me as somebody who could be a very nice, as you say, not in the mold of Ione and Pregnon where he's going to start immediately, perhaps. But if you want a really good young man to develop, I think Basantis could be your guy.
What do you think, Tom?
As much as I like disagreeing with Ketz, I have to agree with him here, Twanisha. I didn't see it. I get that he's a young guy and he could be a clay to mold in the future, and I get that. A reason could be for what you saw in 2024 is because that was a transition year into left guard rather than being at right guard, where he's seemed to be comfortable in his freshman year. I mean, he started from freshman. He was starting every game, so highly touted, straight in there kind of guy. And I do see he can in the run game. There is a little bit of a mauler mentality there. But overall, I was just left thinking meh, to answer that. I think the hand timing issue, where a lot of his flags came from, I see a lot of exposed on the inside shoulder. That okay, he had 0 sacks, but in the next level, that's going to be punished. Limited, not. He had an injury in 2024 as well, a lower leg. Didn't seem that it bothered him last season, but there was the injury there. So yeah, he's an athletic he's an athletic guard, and in 2 or 3 years, maybe he could become a reliable guard. but I don't see him straight away going straight into a starting lineup. And at the 40s, I just, and with what I can see behind him as well, I just don't see it. In round 4 maybe, or end of round 3, yes, but not round 2.
By the way, as you said, he gave up his left shoulder. He did that literally on the YouTube as I was watching the tape that Gav's put up.
Well, I'm not going to decide anything. I'm at value on the dude. I like his name. Sounds like either a strange medical infliction or a hunting problem, chased by bisonitis. But smooth operator, I thought, and I liked his composure. I liked his balance and footwork, his natural agility. He slides right across the line, remains square. I like that. There's things to work with. Like Tom said, I think he's more of an athletic guard than a road grader. He can get down to the second level, can create gaps. I like that sort of mobile type guard. I think he's a good example of that. I like his awareness. I think he keeps his head on a swivel. He's not going to make mental errors, I didn't think, maybe more technical errors. I thought he mirrors well in pass protection, resets his anchor well. We've seen it a couple of times on the highlights here, where he resets his anchor and holds ground after he's had his initial stance destroyed. And I don't think he lunges that much. I thought he recovers quite well, maintains. He's quite composed, I thought, and I like his sort of posture and stance. Seems to have a good technique there. But yeah, it's a hand battle. Doesn't win the hand battle very often. But he tends to use positioning over hand fighting. So he won't like detach and retach. He'll just try and use his footwork and his momentum to try and work his way back into the play. But I didn't like him. Slightly underpowered. I mean, I didn't not like him. Slightly underpowered. Hang on, I got something playing here. Don't worry. Slightly underpowered. Can get a little bit lost in the chaos. Definitely not a day one starter. I reckon that the natural balance and posture, you can work with that stuff, develop his technique, reduce the flags. And so I was all right. I thought I liked him, but yeah, and at value for me. So hang on, let me see if I got this right. So Mark, you were a 1. Both you guys were -1?
-1
Yes,
for me,
sir.
yeah.
Okay. All right. Tom, over to you.
Okay, I'm going to go just a little bit outside of what the consensus board is, and I'm going to go to Georgia Tech and Kalen Routledge.
I think it's Rutledge.
Rutledge.
Just to put some pressure on you, Jason says, Kalen Rutledge is my guy. Don't shatter my dreams, guys.
Well, I'm going to bring him some joy because I'll start off with he is my Red Star.
Red Star!
So this guy was a 3-star recruit out of high school. He went to Middle Tennessee, that in the back end of nowhere, and played as a true freshman. Got onto the all freshman team in the Conference USA. And did really well. So then he became a starter. He then went to Georgia Tech in following the 2023 season. And before he went there, he suffered a massive car crash. It flipped and went into a ditch. He had a massive foot injury where they had to reattach his big toe, and he had multiple surgeries. Then he got a serious infection, which he had to have IV antibiotics for so long. Then he had another surgery. Then he had skin grafts. This was in December of 2023. He was back playing in June, July of 24. He, as I say, he went through the portal, went to Georgia Tech. And after coming out of that car crash, he comes and he starts. And not only does he start, he has a hell of a season. He was first team All ACC, and he had an awesome season. And then the next season he came in, and again he was all team first team All ACC, and in a lot of sites that I've seen as well, he was first team All American as well. So what is he? He is that nasty, heavy-handed, violent guy. Some of his plays you just got to wince and look away from because he goes full power at everybody. He's just got such a nasty temperament to him, and he loves to finish. He also has got a really good anchor. He has good play strength in him. And his run game, as I say, is a natural thing to him because he's so nasty. And also his mental toughness is there as well, as proven by the fact that he nearly lost his leg, and he comes back and just within 6 months plays again. I think he got an award for demonstrating elite resilience and mental fortitude. Is it called the Piccolo Award? I think it was called
Piccolo Award.
Yeah. So he's just a proven badass, basically, and I loved it. Yes, he's got some weaknesses. Sometimes his pad level is quite inconsistent. Sometimes his hand placement can be quite wide. I noticed that, and there is some penalties there as well. I think he had 5 in 2025, but over his career, I think there's been some penalties. But when you're playing that hard, I think penalties sometimes is going to come as part of it. I see him. So with regards to Steelers and where Steelers will look, he has only really played right guard. He hasn't played left. So can he play left? That'll be a question. Yeah, I just love him. And also I think another issue is because we're going into this unknown of a new head coach and we don't know what scheme he's going to run. Will he fit the scheme? Because he fits the old scheme of Steelers, but will he fit the new way of working? So yeah, for me, awesome guy. I don't know what you guys thought.
Mm-hmm. If you don't mind me jumping in here, Gav.
Go ahead.
Because I was just going to say, last week, Ketz had Jennings Dunker as his sleeper, and Jennings Dunker, I believe, is about 50 odd on the consensus board. So that kind of determined my decision here with Rutledge. Now currently set at about 79. He was in the 80s before. 100% this guy's my sleeper.
Dive.
So yeah, set you up for that one, Gav. You knew that one was coming.
Yeah, I could tell. Yeah, thanks, Mark. I'm a real professional. Knows what he's doing.
Apologies to anyone on the YouTube who's listening with small children here, and I promise this is the only time I'm going to do this, but this guy's a violent motherfucker. That is exactly what I've written in this report. He is nasty as all hell, especially, I don't know if you watched the Colorado tape, he was just violence personified in that. Absolutely loved it. Nasty finisher. He gave up 0 sacks in 2025. Really has a very good focus to jump on second blocks as well. I think he's a really good mover. And, considering what he went through with the foot and everything, his movement skills are just fantastic with all that considered. I think he's got an excellent first step. His motor, obviously, is just insane. Holds a strong anchor in ball rushes. Had some really good reps at the Senior Bowl. I believe he took some center reps at the Senior Bowl as well, just to kind of show some versatility, which is really good. Maybe he could do with turning down the chaos at times. He can overset and be kind of left in the lurch somewhat. I think sometimes, despite being the violent finisher that he is, sometimes he falls off blocks a little bit too often. Like him to kind of be more consistent with really finishing off the blocks there. Tom alluded to the hand placement needs some work, but after everything he went through, and as you say, winning the Brian Piccolo Award for all that, one of the most incredible comeback stories. Undoubtedly my sleeper. Violent, alert, brick wall. I think pretty much every con he has is coachable as well. I really do think that you coach those little issues out of him. I think he could be an unbelievable starter for you. I think he's probably going to be the guy that I root for the most in this out of this class. Even if he doesn't go to the Steelers, depending on as long as he doesn't go to a rival. But other than that, no matter where he lands, I think I'm going to be rooting for him. But as you say, right guard, it's a difficult one. It's it's not out of the realms certainly for the Steelers to go with him. But obviously makes things a little bit trickier for us. But oh man, what a player! What an absolute stud of a player. Love him. He's a +1 for me, and as I say, sleeper. Wow.
Yeah. He looks like a guard, plays like a guard. I think he will be fine as a guard. I like his I like his violence and bad intentions. You know, he delivers big hits on the move. We've seen a couple on the highlights we've been playing here. Just a nasty, nasty man out there. And you like that on your team. But what is it about? Why is he not higher up, do you think? I mean, you see the pad level come up. You do see him getting bent back quite a lot. So I wonder if he needs to learn to protect his sort of chest plate a bit more and play a bit lower and a bit more flex, a bit more technical. But I like his anchor, and you like his foot speed in the zone game when he moves around and stuff. So he's first all ACC 2024. Can't remember if he said that. But and I like the way he fires off the ball as well with energy. He's just a ball of energy, isn't he? And a ball of aggression. So yeah, I'm a +1 too. I like him. But yeah, can someone explain to me why he's not higher? What's the weaknesses here we're not seeing? We've not seen.
I had the same as you, Gav. I had high pad level, inconsistency on tape sometimes. Some of his tape is absolutely like drop everything, draft him in the first round, amazing. Some of it's a little bit meh, which is why I think maybe he's going to be a climber in this draft process. He's at 79 at the moment.
That's already climbed from what I saw from last week. So he's
let's have a look at that. Actually, that's an interesting.
He was in the late 80s when I kind of saw him last week. So I think there's just a lot of pop coming out from him now. I do think I watched the Clemson game, and I think that one was a little bit less of an impressive one overall. Still, there were some nice moments, but
I think he can be a bit vulnerable against like your quicker like defensive tackles.
Yeah,
I think that's where he may struggle, especially in the NFL.
Speed around the edge, actually, I put thinking about it. Yeah. So looking at him, he was 119 on the consensus board kind of mid-January, and then he's gone up and up and up since then. So, an interesting one to keep an eye on. If he tests well, then, that's gonna improve him even more. I just love his hands and his grip strength. Like, he has a real pop or jolt kind of making contact with opposing players. They get hit and they know about it. It's really good violence in the tape. So I think I was at value. I think maybe that's a bit harsh thinking about all the comments that we've kind of said. I think I'd probably towards +1, but originally I was at value, just to be completely transparent.
So Tom, you too?
I think I'll take a +1.
You stick with that.
No, because I do like him.
I think genuinely, I think I'm a +1, even though it's my red star. I think I'm a +1. Our earliest, if Steelers were look at him, our early round 3 pick, I'd love them to pick him at that. If he's still there, and that early third round, that was where there's a sweet spot for me.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. I wouldn't mind trading up a little bit in that third round if we haven't already done a trade at that point to move up to even get him. I think he's just that good of a player.
Oh yeah, 3 picks in that third round. One of them's definitely worth it.
2 centres above him, right?
If he falls there, yeah.
So I'd probably have him above the 2 centres in my rankings.
Yes. Yeah.
Maybe that's just positional value there. That why those 2 centres are above. I think he's more.
There you go, Jason.
I think he'd make more of an impact than these 2 guys, for Connor Lew and Jake Slaughter. Sure. I just think Rutledge is going to come in and be a real tone setter.
Jason referred to your explicit content, Mark, as being lawless, and Tom Allen said crazy.
Well, that's just what Keelan Rutledge is. That's how he plays. I needed lawless talk for a lawless man. Considering this man's foot was nearly amputated, the way he's able to play is just, he's deserving of some expletives, some positive expletives.
Right, I think it's back round to me, right?
Yeah, you've down talked 2 people that were before then. So
I'm going to go back to Connor Lew, the Auburn centre, 6'3", 303. I thought he was pretty tough. Bear with me on the YouTube. I'm going to I'll put some highlights on after I finish talking. He looks a little undersized, I thought, but I thought he had a good anchor, good football smarts, and he was always like the key point of the protection, which is what you want at that position. I think he is a centre, like he plays like a centre, but he's more of a wall off kind of seal in the run rather than a stay square and dominate or road grade and go forward. He's definitely not a road grader, but I think he's one of those ones where if you split the protection, he's always going to be that pivot point, and he does that well. He tends to turn his body to seal, which opens up big gaps behind him for the rusher. So I like that element of his game, but it's kind of a little bit that's all he does on his tape, or all I saw. Although to be fair to him, I did when he gets out and starts down blocking in the zone game, he's pretty good at that too. But that's almost like the same skill, like that he's playing with his body 90 degrees to the goal line, you know. But I wondered, Mark, if you knew, is he a wrestler? He looks like he plays like a wrestler to me.
I didn't have anything about wrestling on here. I don't actually think there's too many wrestlers in this.
I thought he looked like more of a wrestler than any other guys. That's why I asked you. I thought you'd know, been wrestling corner. But
I've tried looking up. Yeah,
pretty solid. Not a dominator, but decent. All aspects of centre play, while not being as strong or as big as you draw up. But yeah, I thought the best thing he does is that wall off stuff. So I was at value with him. I think 66 end of the second round. Sorry. Yeah, you're going to get a solid centre, but not that exciting really. But what do you guys think?
Former high school varsity letterman in wrestling.
There you go.
There you go.
Wow.
There you go. Ketz is on it. Not scared about his torn ACL?
You're always scared about injuries. You have to get that checked out.
Yeah, we tore that midway through this last season. I'll be honest, this was the first guy I watched in all of this wing where I went, oh no, I don't think this guy's for me. He's very young. He's not even going to be 21 when the season starts. I think he's just going to have turned 21 when the season starts. So he's incredibly young. So that's good. You've got the growth there. And I think he does have a quick get off and decent punch, and I think he is a good athlete. But yeah, you alluded to the fact I think he's a little bit undersized. I think he struggled against the bigger nose tackle types. I think he looked completely outpowered against A&M. Totally beat at the end of that game in a crucial moment as well. Really, really horrible rep for him that kind of ended Auburn's game. The injury's a massive concern. I think he struggled to sustain blocks. I think his hands look a bit of a mess at times. I think he ended up on the floor more times than I liked. I was close to a -2 for me personally. As I say, the thing that pushed me up a little bit is his youth, and with that, there's not much difference between 20 and 24, say, but I do think it's important to note that he is a junior. He could have very well stayed again for another year. If that ACL tear was something that you thought, well, actually, what, I want to recover this and kind of just build up a little bit more. I wouldn't have blamed him for doing that, but fair enough for him for jumping out now. But I don't know if it's a little bit too soon. Growth could come, solid enough athlete, but the injury, the weight, some of the technique issues I saw, I'm pretty worried about it. So I'm -1 ultimately. I don't know if I'm missing something because people seem to love this guy, but there's something. I don't know if I'm maybe missing out.
Well, if your eyes are always drawn to the sort of powerful road grader, you're not going to see that on his tape.
No, but even that, I still think there's guys. I think there's still dancing bears that I do like in this.
He's not a dancing bear either. I don't think he's literally like a zone sort of move center. I think, and if you can watch on the highlight, all these highlights, look how many of them. All right, this one not included, but where he's turned to the sideline and he's just walling away, like wall. That's all of his reps are. And if you come up with a plan to use him like that, he's pretty effective. Like he can attack half a man, turn him and create a gap, or get down to the second level on a linebacker and take him out to play. So Kyle Shanahan or someone like that is going to love him, I reckon. He's good at that.
Potentially, yeah. It just wasn't for me. Overall, I just wasn't really impressed by what I saw. But please, somebody, is there anybody else who really loves him?
I was at value, if I'm honest. I think, Gav's right. He's a very quick, very athletic, second level centre. I think pass protection was okay. Good fundamental technique. Upper body aligns well. Hand placement's good. Does well at the point of attack. Didn't see too many concerns with anchor. Can be beat on the inside. Run game's a bit inconsistent. Can overextend at times. Can miss blocks. Doesn't have that pancake finishing, mean, angry, dominate ability. And at least not consistently. I think he's got good football IQ. He's very much not like a Tyler Linderbaum type centre. He's not a first rounder. Consensus second round, 66-ish. He's gone up to 64 actually since I watched him, so he's gone up 2 slots. I think this centre class is deep enough that you can get better value lower down. So I would be -1.
I would agree. I'm a -1 on him as well. I don't think he's centre one. I think he's probably 2 or 3 for me. But I see Gav's kind of opinion. I think, your 49ers, where the zonal system, or even the hybrid zone, like your Eagles, he's like the exact same weight and height as Cam Jurgens, whatever his name is. And you see the same thing with the athletic profile. He has got that athletic kind of centre feel, but I just worry one of it is kind of the strength ceiling. I think because he's the lighter kind of guy, is he going to be able to deal with your typical NFL nose tackles? I don't know, but I just think that second round is a bit too high for him. A third round maybe, but second round I think is a bit too. And he seems to be getting higher as well. So for me, that's why I'm a -1. I'm not saying he hasn't got the potential in the future. It's just that at the moment, I don't think he's a starter straight away as well. I think he will be somebody who would need to develop, and then maybe in year 2 or 3 is the starter.
Right. I'm not. I think he will handle those big nose tackles with understanding leverage but almost like side to side leverage. Like he will be able to redirect their power rather than stop it. I think that's the key to his game. But I understand what you guys are saying. You don't like him. It's fine.
He needs the right guards either side of him, doesn't he?
Yeah, and he needs to show that. It's still very well he can have the understanding of it, but I just didn't see that pop off on the tape. But as I say, a lot of room to.
Well, that's why I thought why he was a wrestler, because you look at his foot skills. You know how when they're in the circle with the funny little singlets and they're all like spinning around. It just looks like he's doing that out there to these dudes. It looks like it looks like to me like he's wrestling out there quite a lot of the time.
Gavin Marshall, not a big singlet guy. There you go. That's what we've learned from this.
And I think the bigger worry, it is that ACL, isn't it? He's only just got off, and is a second round pick with somebody who's coming off that ACL? Is that a wise pick? I don't think so.
Exactly. Yeah. Is he testing this weekend? I don't know. I haven't seen anything about if he is testing.
I haven't seen.
I'm sure he was invited, but I don't know if he's actually testing or not. So we'll have to wait and see.
Just a flag on the play there I've just spotted. So we're all right to draft a guy that's had a car crash and like life-changing surgery. Oh, you've got a bit of a knee injury, mate.
Yeah.
I'm not so sure.
Bit of a knee. He tore his ACL, man. I know it's not nearly losing your foot in a car crash, but still.
Yeah, unless you've had skin grafts, don't come and you're not on our draft board.
It's
not enough mental
have you done
toughness.
for me recently? That's what it is.
Lucy Vaughan kind of proved that you don't need an ACL, but then what happened to her wasn't nice.
Oh yeah, no.
It was going well till it didn't. Mark, what was your rating?
Wilson
Sorry,
doesn't have an ACL. -1.
Oh, you're all -1. Wow, I'm on an island here, an at Value Island. It's not an island I expected to find myself on.
So that means that I'm going to say that Connor Lew is your guy from now.
Your guy, yeah.
I own him. He's mine.
Like whoever that guy was for Blake Fisher. Yeah, that was it.
Right.
His guy.
He's my guy. Just because I said he's a competent tackle on the opposite side of the line.
Loser, you lose. Okay.
Yeah, he's no Blake Miller. Anyway. It's back to me, and I'll take you to the other centre that Gav was alluding to earlier. Now, you want to talk great names in this draft. How about a bit of Jake Slaughter?
I'm glad you did that like that, because I was planning on doing exactly the same thing if you didn't.
There you go. Yeah, Jake Slaughter out of Florida, redshirt senior, 23 years of age, 6'4", 308 pounds. Amazing name aside. He wasn't bad. He was solid, I would say. He didn't really jump off the tape massively for me. Again, minimal sacks given up in college. I think his get off was good. His patience, his vision were good. Generally had a good anchor. I think everything's like good with Slaughter, but probably could stand to be better. Definitely a threat, I think, with his movement skills as more of a zone blocker. But 7 penalties in 2025. You've got to clean those up. Sometimes that patience could look like hesitation, and that leads to him getting beat. Saw that on a couple of occasions on the tape. Definitely inconsistent, I think, in particular in finishing off blocks. Particularly when out of structure, and Florida were out of structure a lot with Lagway back there. So yeah, would have liked to have seen him play more through to the whistle in that respect. The guy coming up that I thought jumped off the tape more than he did in this centre class, but I do still quite. He's not terrible. As I say, I think he's good. I think he's the definition of good, not great. It definitely could pick up his game. Took on a slew of good talent. As I say, the SEC guys. So had a lot of top tier talent come his way, and he came out looking pretty solid from it. So nothing exciting, nothing excruciating. I'll go for at value for Jake Slaughter. Anybody wildly higher or lower on Slaughter?
I was just worried he was going to end up in Tampa Bay, to be honest with you, the way that was going.
He nearly did, but I think there's one other guy in this that's definitely more that.
That's fair. Okay, so I had a lot of good and I had a lot of sometimes. So good initial impressions on tape, power, physicality, particularly in his lower body to drive an opponent away from the ball in the run game. Good torque, good that sort of torque steer to get an opponent away from a run lane is good. Athletic, gets downfield quickly. I just like his work ethic and his motor. There was a screenplay that I saw where admittedly he didn't get there, but he gave everything he could to possibly try and get out there to put a block in on the screen. So I just liked what I saw in terms of his intensity. Looks to have good football IQ. His head's on a swivel the whole time at the line of scrimmage. Makes good adjustments when blocking one guy, swivel, pick up another guy that's coming in with a late blitz. Got the snap off in a very noisy Kyle Field in time to prevent a penalty on 3rd and 11 against A&M. That was very kind of just aware of the time, aware of what was happening. I thought that was good game management, which I don't always necessarily comment on enough for centres, but I liked what I saw there.
Oh, that's a good note, yeah.
Good mirroring, leverage, stability in pass blocking. Played every start in multiple seasons without missing time. 2-time team captain, leader in the huddle, respected for preparation and competitiveness. A couple of knocks, so maybe a little bit undersized for an NFL center, and that's going to be the case of all of these kind of athletic centers we're going to talk about today. Over relies on his hands sometimes, and over relies on his core strength rather than agile footwork against quick interior rushes. Sometimes lunges on players, leading to leverage losses. Sometimes lets go of a block too quickly. But overall, I've put fairly solid fundamentals. I think NFL teams will value his availability and lack of injury concerns. So I've gone +1.
I thought you said UFL then. I was like, God, that's harsh.
NFL.
NFL.
All right, Tom, what do you think?
Again, I can see the appeal, and as Ket said, I think, and Mark said as well, around he's just good. There's nothing exciting about him, I don't think. He will be again another a zone kind of athletic center, and it's more about being that smart communicator and having that leverage and balance rather than your brute force kind of guy. And he's quite. He's had the accolades. He's had first team All American. He's had first team All Sec. So I think 2024 was a lot for me, a lot better than it was this year. But he could start straight away. I think I'm just not excited about him. But he's just okay. I mean, I'm a -1 just because I don't think that high again for me. I think he's a 3rd round kind of guy. But yeah, it wasn't overly exciting. It wasn't bad, and I just think if you want a steady okay kind of guy, this is your guy. But yeah, I just wasn't. I didn't see the appeal with him.
Sure. Yeah, I was at value. I think he's a serviceable centre. He's got a chance to. If you need a centre, he's got a chance to be a centre. What's the value for that? Well, if you haven't got a centre, then that value is going to be pretty high, isn't it? So I'm happy with putting him at a 0. But you're not excited about it. It's just like, we need a centre and he's out there. Sort of like Myers was a few years ago. Like, he comes into the league and he's still in the league. He's playing centre. He's fine, but it's just it's not a difference-making centre. It's just it's helping out your quarterback. It's helping out setting the protection. It's all that stuff, the IQ stuff that maybe isn't the most exciting to watch on highlights. So yeah, sort of all-rounder, decent blocking ability, movement skills, but without being elite or near elite in any of those things. So you just get in a centre. Plays a little high. Like to see some better leverage. Like to see him drop anchor a little bit more decisively than I saw. Sort of another more redirector than a wall-off guy. Could improve his hand skills. Seems to resort to like grabbing onto the outside and using his feet rather than controlling with technique. But he's all right. I thought he's okay. Got to say though, surprised. Is that him there on the thing? It's this guy. I don't want to be mean about accountants, but he needs to lean more into the Slaughter thing. He could be getting like a bit of a mohawk or a mullet here, or like dyeing some like long beard rather than this like insurance salesman. I know we've got some insurance salesmen amongst us on the pod here, but he needs to be leaning harder into his name. But unless that's a different guy, I don't know, maybe. Right, have I got everyone's grades here? Right, so I'm at value. Ketz,
Very quick to move off the insurance salesman bit there.
Yeah, I didn't really come back. Ketz, you're a 1, were you?
I was +1.
+1.
You don't want your offensive lineman wearing a tie. I think that's the right take. You want them looking like a toothless guy from Iowa.
Yeah, either
that's busy
dungarees
winning hay bale toss competitions.
Exactly. And Mark, you were a -1?
No, I was at value.
You're at value as well, sir. All right, okay, good. All right, well, that's the kind of top things. This is what I was getting at though when I started the pod. Like, out of those guys, we're excited about Rutledge, we're excited about Pregnon. Vega is good, but we're not liking him at 16. It's kind of a bit of that's what we I don't know about this class. Like, why are these two boring ass centers so high? I
don't know. I'm still quite high. I mean, I've only been like really low on one guy so far. I think Tom put it right. I think there's a lot of really good backup talent in this class, with a few sprinklings of starters in there. So yeah, I'm definitely not as low on it as you are.
Okay,
for sure.
All right, well, it's over to you now. So where are you going to take us?
Is it over to me?
Yeah, because I went. Yeah, we're on to number 6. You went second. Therefore, it's you.
God, jeez.
Must be mathing.
No, I just did Jake Slaughter. Thank you very much.
Oh, in that case, I'm wrong.
Yeah.
In that
It's Ketz.
Fair enough. You're right. It's Ketz. I apologise.
It's Ketz.
Okay, so shall I take you to an exciting centre that I think is the guy
Another centre?
Is my sleeper? Or shall I go to the guy that's higher up the consensus board, but I don't think he's the guy?
Right.
Oh, now can you go to the? Because that's interesting. You've thrown me for a loop there.
Dangle a carrot. There he is.
Tell you what, go for your sleeper because I'm intrigued.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to go the other way. I'd scrolled up for my notes ready to...
No. I'm not going to be as nasty as I was last week with you for making you do Blake Miller.
That is okay. No problem at all. I'm going to go to the great state of Alabama. And this is Parker Brailsford. He's 135 on the consensus board, ladies and gentlemen. He's the definition of value in this centre class, in my humble opinion. He transferred from Washington in 2023, played 2 years at Bama, so he's done 42 games of college football in total. Nearly 800 snaps in 2025 at centre. Plenty of knockdown blocks, plenty of like 905, I think, total snaps in 24. So really good level of production. 25, 0 sacks, 7 pressures in 370 pass blocking snaps. Plenty of power and explosiveness. Athlete with a capital A. High motor. I don't think he'll be beaten by many defensive tackles to the point of attack. His footwork and his hands work nicely together. His handwork in particular. Real good grip strength. His hands are always on the inside of the pads. First punch is impactful. Really good torque when engaged with a defensive player. I like his knee bend. I like his anchor. I like his footwork and his adjustments that he's making. I think that's a really awesome element of his game. Run blocks, can miss blocks at times, but his athleticism gets him out to the second level well enough. Equally, he can drive a guy completely off the screen in the run game. When he gets hold of a guy and he gets the legs kind of pumping, he can move a guy completely off the screen in the run game. He was a third team All SEC team member, 14 pressures and 1 sack in, that must be 2025, I think, or 2024. One of the two. I'm getting my stats confused here. He missed only 1 game against Eastern Illinois due to a high ankle sprain. I've seen a few comments about his size. He's 6'2", 290, which might be a little bit undersized, but I didn't see him undersized watching the tape. I thought the tape kind of negated that comment. I think he's very strong at identifying fronts and setting protections. I like his football IQ. I like his low pad level. Now, why is he so far down? Let's find a few knocks. Can overset by getting too quickly to the point of attack. So he's so keen to get out and he's so athletic. He's getting there almost before the defensive tackle's reacted. And that then creates a gap for the defensive tackle to try and exploit. I think he's got a really high floor due to his intelligence and technique. I think he can struggle against elite ball rushers at times, but he's going to, given his size. He's one of them. It's the gamble. Do you give him more NFL peanut butter and then he loses a step in terms of his explosiveness and his athleticism? I'd be intrigued to know kind of what weight he played at in college, what weight he's going to measure at potentially. But I like his floor. Ceiling may be slightly limited due to bigger, more impactful centers at the next level, but I think he can still be an NFL starter, and he is +1 and my sleeper.
Nice. I like how energetic he is. He's very mobile. But he plays like 100 miles an hour, and I thought that sometimes works against him when he isn't that smooth. He's kind of like a frenzied player, and I thought it was quite funny that he was playing with Ty Simpson, who I said the same thing. Maybe they're a good match in Alabama. They're both kind of frenzy, hectic players. But I thought Parker Brailsford had good football smarts, which again you always want from your centre. So yeah, you're getting a decent centre at whatever round is. What is his 5th round? He's probably going to be going at. But I thought the play speed. I thought he showed up in his reactions. Very explosive off the snap. Like you said, keeps his head on a swivel. He mirrors, flows well, looks for work, stays in plays, has good agility to switch hit from one side to the other, doesn't quit, got good feet, quick mover, gets downhill in a hurry with his active hands, detaches, reattaches well under pressure. So I thought there was, I didn't see overwhelming power or strength, and yeah, he's a little bit small, but he makes up for that. He plays for a wide base, can drop his anchor, has got low central gravity, but is movable. So yeah, I quite liked him. I was at value. Some of the sort of the lack of power concerns. I didn't. I thought for the kind of player that he sort of how his play style, he's not quite powerful enough for his play style. He's not like Lou, that's like more of a kind of wall-off guy. He wants to hit. He wants to kind of drive people, but he doesn't quite have the necessary power. So whether it's going to translate, I'm not sure. But I wasn't. Yeah, I didn't hate him. Definitely thought at 121 on the big board, that's kind of value. He's in the conversation for the pick at that point.
Yeah, I would agree as well. For around his pick, his athleticism is off the charts in a lot of ways, but you're going to see that with him being 290. He seems a lot of the time when you see him at the start, he's a strong communicator. You can see that in him, and yeah, he's just the epitome of busy, isn't he? He just loves to be busy, and he loves that competitiveness of getting up to the second level and stuff like that. So the worry is around his mass and his length. But as you say, at that value, and if you're looking in a zone scheme scheme again, he's got a lot of upside. And your teams like your Niners, probably the Dolphins and Rams and that kind of style, he could be a good starter in a way. And I think if he's in that value around 4, because I'm at value with him as well, you don't. It's not necessarily you have to rush to start him. He could build to be a starter. So yeah, I like him, but I like him at that value. Yeah.
Yeah, I think for me, I worry more about the projection of him more than I worry about him actually as a player, and I think it is a lot down to that size. I do think, Saturday can't come fast enough for him in terms of getting his measurables in, because I think if he can pack on some pounds, I think he becomes a bit more of an intriguing prospect. He's a Feldman's freaks list guy, and you see that in the athleticism, certainly. Only 2 career sacks given up as well. Yeah, his speed is great. Maybe you have to sacrifice a bit of that speed just to get, a little bit more heft behind you, and be more around what your typical NFL center would be. Um, yeah, good reactions, good get off, good initial hit, like all of that. Got to clean up the penalties. I think there's been frequent penalties across his career. Just a little bit worried about his power and technique against some of the better noses that he went up against in the and ends in college. A little bit kind of struggling with his anchor at times with that. A little, a hair late at times to pick up what's happening around him. But I like the player, certainly. Definitely a great athlete. Just put on a little bit more, if you can, weight wise, and let's just see how he develops from there. Certainly a good player, but I'm at value as well with him. Those concerns are definitely glowing, and I think around where you say 120 odd. I think that's a good place for Brailsford.
I would be more concerned if he wasn't SEC proven, but any kind of size concerns or anything I have with these kind of things, I kind of take the view of, well, if they've done it in the SEC, which is one of the most kind of physical, powerful divisions, the gap from the SEC physicality to the NFL, it's a bit, but it's not miles. If he was playing in, ACC or whatever, I'd be a bit more concerned. Or if it was like one of the small school kind of guys, I'd be, I don't think he'd be on the board at that level. But I think playing for Alabama in the SEC, that gets you some credibility, and similarly playing for Washington as well. So played for a couple of good schools.
Yeah.
Albeit the graph there, Gav, as you've highlighted, shows it, landslide downwards. So
Well,
good.
A little, but it's hard to place a guard. That's what I was trying to look at there. It's hard, isn't it? Because what is he now? He's 4th round, but they can slide by a whole round later and still be there. So if that's 5th round, that would be great value. But
it's very difficult to project sometimes.
Yeah, with these, because
that third day is a bit of a wild west at the best of times, isn't it?
Yeah, but also I think it's like guards and safeties. Like you can have really good guards and safeties, and they seem to go, and nose tackles. That's the other one, and even linebackers. They sort of go later than quite often. These numbers they're a little bit higher than where they actually get drafted, and usually I find, and the other positions just positional value just pushes them up. So yeah. Anyway, right, we're good there. Who's next? Because I don't trust me.
Tom.
I'll come away from the centres. I'll let somebody else do the next ones. But I'm going to go back to guard, and I'm going to go for Bo Stevens out of Iowa, left guard. He's played left guard for the last few years for Iowa. He was he started in college in 2021. He redshirted that year. Then he started in 2022. 2023, he got injured, so he was quite limited. Then he came back in 2024, and this is where it kind of peaked. This is where the excitement came with him. He got Iowa's Comeback Player of the Year because of that. He was a semi-finalist in the Joe Moore Award. The unit was as well. So, and then he came into the 2025 season, and he just blew everybody away. He was first team All Big Ten. He was first consensus first team All American. The Iowa O-line won the Joe Moore Award again, and he was one of the he was the top grade in PFF for pass pro. So what is his strength? So he's an effective zone blocker. his hands, he loves, and this is what we saw in the Senior Bowl as well. He loves the snatch strap. He loves that technique, and he's got a heavy strike to him. He's really good at pass pro. He's pass pro and his anchor. I think he's got 92.5 pass protection grade, which is, again, as I said, number one. He had 0 sacks or hits last season as well. He's just got that real physical demeanor to him. Whereas his weaknesses, sometimes his anchor can be a little bit light. And yeah, I didn't see too many, to be honest, actual weaknesses that I saw. The only thing I would say is when it came to the Senior Bowl, I was really looking forward to him and seeing what he can do against some of the guys in that Senior Bowl. And I was left a little bit disappointed with what I saw. He seemingly got beat. He struggled earlier on against some of the big guys. And yeah, from what you see on tape with Iowa, it just didn't seem the same person at the Senior Bowl, which it could be the fact it's a different environment and blah, blah, blah. You're just learning with different people. But I like the tape, and I'm a +1 with him because I think he's in the 140s. But he played out of his skin last year, and you can see that in him.
I thought he's very scheme specific. Again, I thought he was a zone guy.
Zone,
a real athletic, good mover, not a big and heavy. I thought actually him and Logan Jones next to him at centre were pretty similar in a lot of ways. I've watched them at the same time and found myself writing the same notes. I thought he drove through contact pretty well. Thought he played with patience and control, nice knee bend, nice balance, and that helps him sustain blocks despite being not huge. But I thought he was a bit of an outside hugger. Thought he needed to work on his hand technique. Ankle falls apart sometimes when he loses that initial strike. But yeah, I wasn't massively enamoured. I thought he got knocked off course in the run game a bit. Not a natural road grade. And funny enough, I thought, what about if you played him at centre? I thought I'd just be interested. I thought he might be actually more suited to centre than guard. But I didn't really like the 2 games I watched. I didn't think he made that much of a difference. I thought he was kind of average. And so I was actually a -1. I just thought there's other ways you could go here. I'd probably let someone else draft him. So sorry, Tom.
No, that's fine.
I've actually audibled slightly here while Tom was speaking. I think I was probably a bit too invested in the durability of him because, 2023 season-ending injury in there, did have a little bit of a niggle in 2024 as well with an ankle injury. I was maybe a bit too concerned about that durability that made me feel a little bit more at value at it. But I think ultimately I'm not too concerned about it because you said 2025 was such a solid year for him, and I really do like the player as well. Hasn't given up a sack in the last 3 years, only 2 penalties in that time as well. Really good. I think his pass block is just absolutely fantastic. Really good talk. Great hands from what I saw there. I think his run game's not terrible either. Really plays through to the final whistle and that. He's got a mean streak about him, and he is a former wrestler. I know this guy's a former wrestler, as well as a former basketball player as well. So 2 very interesting former sports to kind of blend in there. The Senior Bowl wasn't like overall, wow, here's a guy, but I do think he had some impressive reps in there. He very, very nicely beat Lee Hunter in one that was kind of a standout rep for that. The durability did concern me, but maybe it concerned me a little bit too much. And you've kind of gone through some of the negatives that I certainly agree with you. And I'm a bit concerned about the arm length. Although at guard, I know it's not as problematic, but still, it did lead to some of the bigger D linemen getting the better of him at times. I think otherwise he's a vicious, strong individual who can kind of slot in and be quite effective. So hell with it. Like I've gone +1. I've gone with your side of it, Tom. I do think maybe I'm over worrying about the durability, considering he has such a strong 2025. It's still in the back of my mind, but I do really like the player. So yeah, +1 for me in the end.
Mark can't be negative on a corn-fed boy, as we all know.
No, I tried to be, and it never happens.
Okay, you had 2 of the 3 stats I have about this guy. So you had the wrestling, you had the basketball. He's a two-way lineman, or certainly was at the start of his career. So he played on the defensive line as well. So he has an understanding of what his opponents will be trying to do to beat him. So that's an interesting point, because I don't think you get many two-way linemen. But yeah, I agree with a lot of what everybody said. Kind of that leg ankle injury in 2023, but then he was comeback player of the year in 24, 25, put it all together. 13 games at left guard, highest graded guard in a power conference, as you said, Tom, according to PFF. One of the best pass blocking guards in the top 5, in the power 5, I should say. He's athletic, but that is, and this goes back to something you said, Gav, that Iowa lineman thing. They are athletic guys. That is how they play. That's the kind of Iowa. There's a good Iowa offensive line sort of ethos video that I found. So I was watching a bit about that. So yeah, that's the kind of guy that they go for. But yeah, I like his footwork, like his hand placement, power, torque to secure running lanes, high motor, mirroring, pancaking, if that's a verb, it definitely is on this show. Pancaking and overpowering of defenders. I like his hand fighting. Does enough to get out to the second level. It's got that aggression, that mean streak. So yeah, +1 as well for me, please.
All right. Just watching on the YouTube here, I've seen a couple of nice punches actually from him. Seen some strike power that I maybe missed first time, so I put that in the win column. But yeah, I'm still going to be a -1. I don't know if you were watching, but also there was a bit of a whiff where he nearly got his quarterback killed on a linebacker blitz there, which looked to me like it was either him or the center. I was trying to work it out, but yeah. So there we are. Anyway, Bo Stevens. Yeah, sorry, Hawkeye Matt. I was excited that there might be 3 draftable Iowa linemen in this draft. Not sure that I'd want the Steelers to take Bo Stevens, but anyway, okay. Mark, you were a 1. I was a -1. Tom Ketz, was a 1, and Tom was a 1. I got that right?
Yep. You're the outlier here.
I'm the outlier again. Okay, seeing things different ways. Right, who's keeping track of whose guys it is? Because it's not me. Oh, it's back to me. All right.
It is back to you.
Well, while you're doing the spreadsheet, Gav, why don't we stay in Iowa and why don't we talk about that center?
Fine. Okay. Let's do that.
So we'll go with Logan Jones. He's 6'3", and I've seen a range of measurables here. I've seen anything from 290 up to 302. I don't know what the kind of consensus is. He's another one of he's another one of these kind of high football IQ centers, and given what we've just said, he's kind of an athletic sort of Iowa lineman. He was given the 2025 Remington Trophy, which is given to the nation's top center. So that's kind of an indicator of his kind of performance at the position. You definitely see the high football IQ, the protection calls, the pre-snap adjustments. I think he had really good push from the center position in the run game. Again, powerful torque. No problem at all in terms of his athleticism from moving from the center position to get outside in the run game on a sort of outside run lane type play. Can miss blocks at the second level. I saw a few examples of that. Again, if he is that sort of 302 pound range, he's not going to have that overwhelming kind of physical explosiveness compared to the sort of the bigger elite centers at the next level. I did see some ball rushes that had him on skates backwards, so I do have a bit of a concern about that. I saw in in the pass protection game, some solid hand fighting. Overall, I think he's an okay center prospect. I like the other corn-fed boy slightly more on his left-hand side. I went with that value on Logan Jones. Is he my favorite center in the draft? No. I think his floor is fine, but his ceiling's not as high as some of the others we've already talked about in this episode.
Another athletic centre, but he does burst out of his stance and he gets into the mix of it pretty quick. I like that about him. He's not like going to wait and see what comes at him. He's going to try and enforce his will. I think he had nice agility, can talk well, can redirect and react to rushes inside well, switching from one side to the other to help out his guards. But yeah, lack of elite strength, lack of length, kind of caps him again for me. Sort of in a very similar boat to Bo Stevens. Can move, can get downhill, will suit a zone-heavy scheme that will utilise his assets best. But I saw him getting moved around too much in the power game for me. So I was actually -1. I think a zone-heavy team will rate him higher, but yeah, for me, -1.
Oh man, I was much higher. Just another guy I really like. I think he was a heck of an athlete, heck of a mover, powerful upper body. There are some pancakes on his tape again. Only 1 sack given up in 2025 and no penalties as well. Really, really clean player, but an angry hitter. He's a team captain. He's a leader of this team. As Ket said, Remington Trophy Award winner, Joe Moore Award-winning winner, unanimous All-American in 2025, first team All Big Ten as well. He's 24. He will be 25 in October, so he'll turn 25 within his first season. So he's definitely an older prospect. You kind of think to yourself, is it sort of man against boys a little bit with him potentially? The weight's borderline certainly. Yeah, you'd like to see him put on a few more potentially. Talk's inconsistent certainly. I think he can get somewhat lost when bursting into the second level. But I just really like, age and inconsistency against ball rushes aside, I do like him. I do see a starter here. Like, I think he's explosive. He's hard hitting. He's gritty. He's a team leader. Like, I like a lot of the upside of him. Really, really do. I think he'll already feel like a veteran walking into a team. I think he'd probably best suit a team that needs a kind of, a centre now maybe. But I think he could be that sort of guy. I really do. So I'm a +1 on him. I'm really high on Logan Jones, and not just because he's a bit corn-fed, but just like a lot of what I saw out of him and what I kind of project to see from him going forward.
I think I'm at value with him. It feels a bit rinse and repeat with regards to the centers in the top 120, I would say, because I think you could say that they kind of mirror each other, in their weaknesses are all roughly the same, and their strengths are all roughly the same. If you're the Niners, or you're the Rams, or you're the Seahawks, you're the Dolphins, you may be licking your lips a bit if you need a center, in a sense of all these could function in that offense. I think it's because we've been with the Steelers, and the Steelers haven't played that offense. I got a little bit bored by this point with the centers. I was thinking, they're all the same. They're all literally the same. Yeah, they could literally. There's no difference. So why is one in the 60 and the other is in 140? You could pick the same thing up in the 140 that you would have to put a second round on somebody. It didn't make sense to me. So I'm at value. I think he's a good player. He had a good season last season. But like all the rest of them, he has the same negatives and the same positives.
Yeah, I think
maybe that's why I like this class so much. Maybe it's they are a lot of the same guys.
I like his hand placement here, like on the channel on YouTube. You can see like he has got some nice techniques where he gets inside there and gets the chest pad. So there is some stuff there to work with. He's got he has got quite active hands. You're seeing him engaging, disengaging, getting reworking, doing a bit of that sort of jiu-jitsu stuff. So there is something there.
Absolutely, I think there is. Yeah, I certainly think he's got a great chance.
But then you see plays like that where he's just getting blown backwards. So it's all right, actually. It's not too bad. But it's hard to, like you say, Tom, how do you slice up these centres? And I think it comes down to, there's quite a lot of IQ football smarts, right, with the centre position. I don't know if they know that, where they are, how the mock draft consensus can really translate that. But I think when it comes into team meetings and they get them up on the board and they start talking about protections, that's where you really start to see teams like going, well, this is our guy, he fits our scheme, he understands what we're trying to run. So there's a whole
that interview process is so important for the centre position.
Yeah, I think so.
It's almost like you give them like a quarterback test. You understand all the different things. What are we trying to do in that situation? If this happens, what do you do? It's quite involved, isn't it?
Yeah. So I'm again lower than everyone else. Yeah. His nice hand skills I just watched there weren't enough to elevate him up to a at value for me. Right. It's round to me, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think. I'm obviously, I don't know how many you've got left. I know you and Kets have got. I think you both had 12, so I don't know.
2 left.
Okay,
3 left.
In another draft of centres, I'm going to go with another centre. Sorry, everyone. I'm going to take us to Kansas State. Sam Hecht. Sounds like someone coughing something out their throat. Hecht. I don't know how you say it nicely. I thought I quite liked him. I was pretty high on him. Where is he? He's Mr. 100 on the consensus big board at the moment. I thought he's a nice sturdy frame with good mass. Maybe he's at last a little bit different than all the other centres we've had. He's like maybe not so athletic, a little bit less mobile. But I've seen him make plays where he's won in the zone game, like where he's had that quick step out and got ahead of the rest of the line. So there's potential there. There's something. There's some leg explosion or some drive from his stance which can get him out. Maybe he's not so agile when he's in space, but at least he can impact the zone game in that way. But I think he plays with a nice wide base, got good grip, nice hand skills, good awareness, good IQ. Seems to play with good strength. I thought he resembled an energetic bulldozer at centre. So that was my kind of tagline for him. Not as agile as you'd like, struggles to make second blocks, like not the guy that's going to switch from one side to the other, so he might get caught out by a stunt or like a delayed blitz like we just saw Logan Jones get caught out. Maybe he's not going to switch, maybe he's going to hang on to his guy a little bit too much or be late getting across. And I think maybe that's a bit of balance, bit of agility. Does seem to get blasted around laterally sometimes in the chaos. But I think he might even be my favourite centre in this draft. Like, I like the toughness he plays with. That is, as long as he plays with like good guards that can prevent the amount he needs to switch or can like keep the space tight so he's not maintaining a huge gap up the middle, I reckon he could develop into a strong starting centre. So I was actually +1 on Sam Hecht. What do you guys think?
I am absolutely on board with you there. I'm also a +1, another guy I just really, really like. Maybe a little undersized-ish, but this guy was like a big standout at the Senior Bowl as well. Really, really impressive Senior Bowl. A lot of people picked up on. Again, no sacks given up throughout his entire college career. No penalties this past year. Really, really clean player in that way. I think he swings out very nicely. I think his athleticism is pretty good, personally. I think he'll test well this week. Great getting into the second level. I think moves and holds players off really, really well. I noticed he was a really good communicator on the line as well. I saw him very active on the line, communicating a lot, probably more so than I saw with a lot of these other guys. So that was really, really encouraging. I do think bigger noses may well have his way with him. Although, he held up well against Dominique Orange and Lee Hunter this past season. So maybe not so much, but it's still something that you have to have in the back of your mind with the kind of size that he is. Anchor wavers every so often against those guys, and it's somewhat inconsistent in finishing off his blocks. But yeah, his stock has risen a ton, and you can see why. Like, he's a swift, smart centre who at times plays stronger than his frame suggests as well. May need to eat the porridge a little bit, but otherwise I feel like the ceiling is huge for Hecht. I really, really like him. First team All Big 12 in 2025. Just a really, really solid player all round. +1 for me. I think he's going to be really, really good at the next level.
Nice. Interesting. I was -1. So, yes, as with a number of these guys, the size is a question mark, but I saw some weaknesses. Pull moves are a weakness. I think, yes, he's a good zone blocker, but man blocking, I don't like his power. I think he's got good footwork, really quick feet, athleticism. I don't like his hand punch. It lacks power. I think he's going to need two powerful guards either side of him. I suspect he'll need double teams a lot at the next level. I didn't like his finish and his aggression at the point of attack. There was a really low snap on tape. So when he's pulling and trying to get round the other side quickly, the snap that he did was basically on the floor. The quarterback had to almost pick it up off the floor. So yeah, I saw a couple of snaps that were just like, ooh, yeah. And maybe it's just, PTSD after seeing a couple of bad Steelers snaps over the years. But yeah, given that he's not the thickest center, yes, he's got the football IQ, he's got the athleticism, but there's some other athletic athletic centers in this class that I like a lot more. So I went with -1 on Sam Hecht in the end from Kansas State.
Yeah, I didn't have him down as being athletic centre, but I just, on the highlights, I was just looking for someone was saying he was a move centre, which I don't see it because he's quite tall. He looks to me like he's ready to add some mass and be a bit more of a tougher guy. I liked him more in that mould.
I think he could go either way, personally. I do think there's a little bit of athleticism to him. As I say, I think he'll test really well this week.
Oh, that's
this
interesting
weekend.
because I didn't see him
But,
moving that well. I just thought he was quite good out of his stance, like, and his initial first couple of steps were good. But then I thought,
I think getting into the second level, I think he's there quick and he's really on it with that. So yeah, maybe I don't know. It'd be interesting to see how he does test. But Tom, what do you think of him?
It may have been because he was the first centre I saw, but at this point, so I wasn't bored of this kind of centre. but I really liked him, I started watching him more and more from off of the Senior Bowl because he popped off from the Senior Bowl. So yeah, so I was impressed, and I did see the mobility there. I did see athleticism as well. I think not in a Steelers scheme, I don't think, or past Steelers schemes, he wouldn't do that. It's again more of your West Coast kind of stuff. But I really liked him. I think another thing when we talked about intelligence and the IQ kind of side of things is this guy got he's a 4.0, whatever it is, student.
GPA.
Yeah, and he's got back-to-back academic or Big 12s as well. So he's got the intelligence. This guy has. So yeah, I like the prospect. I'm a +1 as well. And in say the third round, I can see one of the teams where the scheme fits. He'll be snapped up.
yeah. I mean, you can see
This
that
is the one where we throw the tomatoes at Kits.
You can see.
Bring it.
He plays a lot squarer than Lou does. Like his shoulders are always level to the goal line. So that tells me that he's a very different kind of centre. He's not trying to create gaps. He's more of a kind of forward and backwards centre. So maybe that shows up in slightly better pass protection. I don't know, but yeah.
I did see something on a negative point of view. One of the writings, the articles that I saw, is they hinted that some scouts are saying they feel he's maxed out physically.
Right. Because 6'4", 300, right? That's pretty tall for a centre. They're usually 6'2" or something, you know. So
yeah,
that would be so. I mean, yeah, that would probably have him more going into the side of being more of that athletic sort of player rather than how Gav is trying to look to maybe build him up. So that might force the hand somewhat there, which is a little bit concerning, certainly. But yeah, we'll see. We'll certainly see if that's the case, especially come when he has his measurables this weekend.
yeah. Oh, you've dashed my hopes of him being the toughest centre in the draft. There you go. Right. Okay. I was a +1. Ketz was a -1, and Tom was a 1. So we all liked him apart from Ketz. That's nothing new.
Yep.
It's a very fair critique.
Right. Who's next?
I think it's back to me. I tell you what, I've been so positive about guys through here, so why don't I do one I'm not so positive on? I'm going to go to Notre Dame, and I'm going to talk about Am I going to get a Notre Dame? Yeah, I'm going to get a Notre Dame. Billy Schrauth out of Notre Dame. I think that's how you pronounce it. Schrauth.
Schrouth and
It's
Hecht.
yeah, Schrauth.
Yeah, Schroth. I don't know. Maybe I'm not entirely sure. 6'4", 305 pounds. Again, couldn't find an age on this guy, but I don't think he's like majorly old. Missed 4 games in 2024 with an ankle injury. Missed the last 5 games of 2025 with a sprained MCL. And that kind of didn't help anyway. But I was pretty uninspired by the tape for this guy. And ladies and gentlemen, here is your Tampa Beige interior offensive lineman for this year. 305. Is he going to move to center? Is there a call for him to move to center here? Because he's very much an undersized guard in that respect, and already with the troubling injury history, that is a concern straight off the bat. I do think he struggles on first contact. I think he can get beaten on the inside quite easily, which for guard is not ideal. I think there's some strength questions there. Miami, he was just getting beaten hard, swept aside, hit back hard at times, and there just no consistency really there in the blocking at all. Minimal sacks and penalties given up, which is great. Decent mover. I think he's got a good recovery ability as well. I think he uses that athleticism that he does have to kind of steady himself there. The athleticism, those occasional anchor things are good, but the weight, the durability concerns, coupled with the lack of consistency in his reps and lack of run game impact in particular, I was pretty uninspired by Schrauth. I would be a pass on him. It's not a guy that interests me at all, really. -1 for me. Is anybody like majorly more high on him? Because I just don't really see it with Schrauth, to be perfectly honest with you.
I'm not majorly high on him. I thought he's, you like the frame, the size of the frame. Was he 6'4", 310? I mean, he looks like an NFL guard. He can definitely move. Like he's not a statue. I liked his strength, his power. Thought his awareness was good. Head on a swivel, all that stuff was there. Solid anchor. I thought he played high, and I thought he had a weird habit of leaning back rather than engaging through contact, taking control, not just when he's getting pushed back, but just when he's actually engaged, he just seems to lean backwards. I'd like to see him, drive his hat into a guy rather than lock out and lean back, just take control of the rep. So maybe that's coachable. Maybe you'd see an improvement in his speed to power and just taking over reps. But yeah, the sprained MCL 2025 is a concern, but I just thought everything was solid. I thought he looked like an NFL lineman that you could, you pad out your depth chart, has a chance to start as time goes on. 127 on the big board, 4th roundish. But I just think you're drafting the frame here, and you're just going to try and work with it. So I was at value. He's at the pick. He's on the board. You're going to have a conversation about him. So yeah, that's where I am. Anyone higher than me?
I didn't watch him, unfortunately.
Okay.
I mean, he's a guy who I came across because I can't remember who did the mock draft, but somebody did a mock draft, one of the probably ESPN ones, and they drafted this guy to the Steelers in the 2nd round.
No.
And I was like, so I went and watched him, and they say he's serviceable. He is serviceable. The way he plays. But as Gaz say, I see him as a high level backup, where somebody you can come in, that if anybody gets injured, he can do a job, but nothing special. So I'm at value with him as well. I've got nothing. If you're in the 4th round and you want something that is serviceable, this is your pick as a guard for me. But yeah,
Notre Dame, one of the cleanest outfits. I think they look so good. Their outfits just
Proper old school. Yeah, proper.
It's clean.
Yeah.
Kets, what do you think? Oh, you didn't watch him?
Didn't watch him.
So,
No.
Right, so we can move on. Okay.
can move on just as I see Aaron Glenn has fallen asleep at the combine.
Oh, really?
So that kind of sums up the Jets, doesn't it?
He's been too hard at work.
Too hard at work, God. Yeah.
Who's going next here?
Yeah, we've kind
Kets.
of. So, yeah, I think it's Kets.
I can do. I was conscious I led the other guy off, but no, that's fine. There's a couple of schools left where I've watched a couple of the guys. One is Auburn, the other one is A&M. So let's go to Auburn because where is he on the big board?
181?
181. Thank you, Gav. Jeremiah Wright from Auburn. He's the right guard. 6'4", 348. So he's definitely a different kind of size of guy. He's definitely more of your power guard than your athletic guard. Wears number 77. That said, as much as he's 348, I watched the Sooners tape and he didn't dominate as much as I would have expected him to or wanted him to at that size. Bull rush had some impact on him. He did seem to be more of I call it like a sponge technique where you just kind of slowly give ground. You don't really like anchor the player properly. You try and absorb the power from the opponent. So he's not one of these kind of zero movement anchor guys, if such a phrase even exists. Allowed a sack against the Oklahoma Sooners as well. He maintained a block for too long. And then eventually, I think he probably had to let him go because otherwise it would have just been a kind of holding call. And it just allowed the guy to just go and sack the quarterback in a relatively easy fashion, which I thought was a bit daft. I think this guy can be beaten with speed pretty comprehensively. I think he's going to be a phone box kind of interior guard only at the NFL level. I think you need a really good tackle next to him to make up for some of his shortcomings. I think he can be blown off a play completely in the run game. When I did see him try and get outside as if he was one of these athletic guards, he just wasn't quick enough, and the running back was kind of trying to push him out the way to carry on with his run. It was a bit of a weird thing to see, but imagine a running back trying to push a 348-pound tackle or tackle sort of sized guy playing guard out the way to carry on his run, which was just not what you want to see, really. Significant injury issues early in his collegiate career. He had one of these dodgy knee, severely torn ACL that caused him to miss most of the 2021 season. As of 2024, I don't know if this carried on into 2025, but as of 24, it was noted that Wright had never gone through a full spring practice at Auburn, completely healthy up to that point. So I've just got real kind of injury concerns, play concerns. Of note that he moved from a defensive line in his first year in college and then back to the offensive line, settled at obviously the guard position, had the injuries that affected his development and his consistency on the field. He's played a load of college football. He's played 53 games over a number of seasons. But yeah, I'm going to go -1, if not -2, based on just the play that I saw. Didn't particularly like the tape. This guy wouldn't be anywhere near my board.
So -1 or -2?
I'll go with -1 initially.
Okay.
Unless everybody else absolutely hates him.
I didn't watch him. I'm watching him now. He's a big dude. I just saw his motor run about as cold as an O-line motor can run. Just ran 2 steps and then started walking. But there's some nice plays on here. What do you guys think? You guys watch him?
I didn't watch him either. He was next on my list.
Did you say you did, Tom, or you didn't?
No, I didn't watch
Okay,
him.
Cats on an Island.
By the sounds of it, I think we.
Okay, I'm going to upgrade that. I'm going to upgrade that to -2 because I want to be definitively out on the guy.
Okay, -2, not worth watching. I don't. Yeah, okay. I mean, the size was good.
Watch him to argue with my take. That's a good reason to watch him.
List. He was literally the next one, and I was like, I'm kind of tapped.
What do you say his measurables were?
6'4", 348.
Yeah, he looks big and heavy.
Yeah, he should be that big, kind of powerful SEC guard. And then I put the tape on and just, where is the power? Like after watching all these athletic guys, I was kind of like, oh, good. It's a much bigger, more powerful guy. And I just didn't see it, and I was a bit disappointed.
Fair enough.
Stream unavailable kind of sums it up, really.
Right.
He seems to be peaking at the moment, though, because if you look at him, not even a month ago, he was nearly 300 on the consensus board.
Wow. Wonder what's driven that.
How we
then.
got? Yeah, that's interesting. That SEC tax, isn't it? It's just
Maybe. Whoops.
get pushed up unnecessarily.
There you go. Cool. Is it me?
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah.
I'm going to go to Alabama then. If we're going to stay in the same area. I'm going to go with Jaden Roberts. He is a massive guy, 6'5". I've got 325, but I'm not sure if that's right or if
I got
it's a little bit more.
327. Yeah,
Okay.
something around that ballpark.
He was on Bruce Feldman's freak list, benched like 525, squatted 805, and power clean 4115. He was so he is a ginormous guy, basically, and I know Bama loves these kind of guys. He has a nice anchor and really nice play strength. He's very much that kind of knockback power in the first contact kind of guy, and he has a good anchor against like the bull rush. He's got heavy hands and pretty good grip strength to latch on. He's got the range with pass pro, and he's not too bad. His run game mentality is really good, and he plays through the whistle quite well. I think against like Wisconsin, I watched the game and he was just going straight through guys, and same with Georgia as well. He went straight through guys. So I liked his strengths. His weaknesses, he plays high, so he plays really high. His pad level is really high. His footwork is awful in a lot of ways. It's almost robotic. He can get over aggressive and lose his kind of technique and finesse in that sense. He's not he's not a massive athlete, so his athletically he's not there. But that's not his game. His game is that big kind of mean kind of player. So yeah, he's at where he is. You're looking probably 6th round, where he's at the moment. I think he is. He's the sort of guy you could take a chance on, and he at worst could be a nice backup to have that big boy backup basically. So yeah, I'm at value because I think he is a 6th rounder, but yeah, and I think the reason why I looked at him, he went to the Shrine Bowl, and Steelers actually had a meeting with him at the Shrine Bowl. So there's interest from the Steelers from that point of view as well. Yeah. Did anybody else watch him?
I did watch him. I was just people watching this to YouTube will have seen me struggling to find him because he was injured, wasn't he, for quite a lot of this season?
Yeah.
So he's not in all the games. He's in this one.
So he started.
77.
I think he had a concussion at the start of the year, and he had to fight his way back in to actually get the starting role again.
Yeah. You can see that he's. You said it, Alabama, right? He's that big guy. I mean, I've fallen for these guys before. Like, who was the one a few years ago, or like 5 years ago? Dwayne Brown, was it? The absolutely massive dude.
Yeah.
On that line that I really was keen on, and then he's not really panned out. But I like him. He's my sleeper actually. And maybe I've fallen again for the Dwayne Brown of it all, but it's the big guard with overwhelming length and power and the super heavy hands that needs to work on technique and balance and agility. If I don't know if his balance and agility can be improved, but his technique definitely can. But when he widens his base, he's pretty hard to move, and he hits with real power, especially on the move. It's just things like, he's a waist bender, gets over his toes. Can he bend his knees? I don't know. Needs to have more knee flex. stop lunging into blocks. How can he get more agile? I don't know. If he directs one way, he's like he's like in the Suez Canal, like one of those big cargo ships. Like he can't turn back the other way, so it's hard for him to redirect. So if he gets feinted, or like if he thinks there's pressure coming from one direction and he moves that way, there's going to be a big gap behind him. But if you could coach him up, you could harness his size and power in the run game while maintaining what he does in pass protection. If you can kind of fine tune his weight and his strength, work him, just like the perfect mix, work on his agility, work on his footwork to loosen up his play style. I think it's hard to find size and power. Developmental guy, I just want him in my camp. See if coaches can get more technique and harness his potential. That's what I think. So it is definitely a kind of shot where we are. It's 209 on the big board. That's what he was when I watched him. I mean, we're talking, this is a proper late round flyer. But for this guy, this huge man mountain, I think it's worth taking a chance. Anyone else watch him?
Yeah, I have concerns, and those concerns were kind of voiced mostly from Bama fans themselves. Not a lot of Bama fans like this guy. And a big worry that I had is that they were saying that he just didn't understand the coverages and the protections at all. He wasn't getting it at all. Just a lot of missed assignments apparently for what the fans were saying, and that's a massive concern. And then you kind of look at the tape and you see, there are some issues within there, technique, and it's all very buildable. You can coach your way out of that potentially, but bit of a sketchy medical history anyway. I think he lunges heavily at times that leaves him looking a little bit stupid. He's got a great frame.